Hey everyone, and welcome aboard the TARDIS for another edition of Recapping Space and Time. It had to be you, 50. Hi everyone, and welcome to our Doctor Who recapping show. I am, as usual, your friendly neighborhood soda, joined by Big Fudge Ben Rayner, and joined this week by Four Knocks of Geek. How are you guys doing?
Doing fantastic.
Oh yes.
Same.
Okay then. So this week we are covering the end of the David Tennant era. And this is interesting. I don't think they've done this with any of the Doctors before, but between season 4 and 5, they had a year where they released 4 feature length almost specials. They were the very first stuff filmed in HD for Doctor Who, and it was done as a farewell to David Tennant. But the reason why they went for specials in 2009 is because Russell T Davies felt it would allow the new production team headed up by Stephen Moffat that was going to take over. It would help them give enough time for them to fully prepare their first season and get it as right as possible. I think that's actually a good way to go about doing things when you're handing over a show like this.
And now that you mentioned it, I think they actually did that also with Smith. Because after after the name of the Doctor, you basically only had specials until his departure.
Yeah, that's right. Because the day the Doctor is a special and the time of the Doctor special. That's true.
And to a lesser degree with Capaldi also, because he did have a season where he should have regenerated at the finale. No spoilers for Ben, obviously, but then they had a special, and that was his regeneration episode, technically. So,
okay. Yeah, okay. So it has been done more often than not.
But not to this capacity, though.
No. This was a whole
stretched over 2 years.
Yeah, and you can tell like they put money into these.
Yeah,
You can also tell that this was an end of an era. In terms of mind, one of those specials we'll get into. But I mean, it felt like a whole series finale. One of these, and it was really well done.
For sure. Rearranging your TARDISes.
yeah I just noticed my abnormally large head is blocking both of them, so I gotta make sure people can see them.
So let's hop right into it. The first special was called The Next Doctor, which when you hear that, it's like, shit, is he regenerating already? It's quite a misnomer, but it's a good misnomer. What do you guys think of this one?
I personally loved it. Spoiler, this is my favorite one. I just love everything was fun. I love the villain. I love the mystery behind who this ever talked to. And I loved the slow mood of the reveal of why he's not good.
Mm-hmm.
So, Soda, correct me if I'm wrong. You didn't watch this in its original run when it came out, right?
No, I started watching Doctor Who as it was airing in season 7.
Oh, that late.
Yeah.
Here's why I asked, because by the time series 4 came out, everyone already knew that this was going to be David's last season, and he was going to change. And when you hear, first of all, when you watch the ending of Journey's End, right at the end there's a tease to the next special. They don't reveal the name in the special, and then later they came out with just the opening of that entire episode. The entire opening, the Doctor landing at Christmas, him walking through the marketplace, hearing Rosita calling him out the Doctor, and then obviously David Morrissey shows up and he's like, "I'm the Doctor, the one, the only, and the best." They're both saying their iconic line, and then right as quote unquote the opening title sequence is about to start, that's where the tease ended.
Yeah,
and it ended with the reveal of the next Doctor, which was the reveal of the title.
It's on the DVD. I've seen it.
Okay, but seeing it
Oh,
after
yeah.
the fact is a little different from
True.
that is how you're getting the reveal of the title of the next episode. That threw everybody off straight off. It was akin to I'm gonna go ahead and say it was akin to the first teaser for Return of the Jedi, where all you see is the elevator going up, the door opens, and it's Luke and Vader, and Luke is wearing all black, and that was it. That was the entire teaser.
Oh, I didn't know that was a teaser. Yeah, I can see how that would be confusing to folks in the early 80s.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No,
I was actually going to launch into the thing. Go ahead.
Didn't everyone think that guy was already going to take over David Tennant? Was that the...
From everything I've read posts, it sounds like it. Because they hadn't announced Smith at that point, had they?
Yeah, they haven't announced who was going to be the next Doctor. So at that point, people assumed this was the next Doctor, and in fact, even the Doctor himself in this episode thinks that it's the next Doctor because that's the title of the episode. Ironically, though, in hindsight, the name of the episode doesn't really have much to do with the plot of the episode.
No, at all.
No.
It was primarily there for the tease.
Yeah. So, the 10th Doctor lands in Victorian London and, overhearing cries for help, encounters a man calling himself the Doctor and his companion Rosita Farisi, attempting to capture a cyber shade, which escapes. The Doctor initially believes this man is a future incarnation of himself suffering from amnesia. The man is investigating a series of disappearances around London and the cyber shades. They discover Cybermen data storage info stamps, which the man recalls holding when he lost his memories. The Doctor realizes that the man is actually Jackson Lake, a missing human who believed he was the Doctor due to absorbing the data of the info stamp about the Doctor. The Cybermen have constructed, using child labor, a Cyber King, a giant metallic Cyberman, using their human ally Miss Hannigan as its controller. The Doctor discovers another entrance to the Cybermen's base under Lake's house. The Doctor, Lake, and Rosita manage to rescue the children, including Lake's son. The Cyber King rampages over London, and the Doctor uses the info stamps to sever Hartigan's connection to the Cyber King. The emotional feedback destroys both the Cybermen and Hartigan. Using technology from Lake's cellar, the Doctor sucks the toppling Cyber King into the time vortex. Now, for me, I love all the stuff with Jackson Lake. I love that part of the story. I'm not a big fan of Miss Hartigan as a villain, personally. She just didn't do it for me.
I can see that.
Yeah, I mean,
It was hit and miss for me.
Yeah.
I love the concept of the Cyber King. Sorry, Ben.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a good concept. It just I don't know. Just I didn't feel the character. I just didn't feel it.
The thing is, though, the Doctor seems to refer to a Cyber King as if it's something that he's already known for years. Because there have been all kinds of variations of cyber stuff, and even the Cyber Shades is a new thing. But the Cyber King apparently is this mobile sort of vehicle that takes humans in there into a factory in the chest to convert them. That's a completely new thing as far as I'm aware, but the Doctor seems to refer to it as something that's been around for decades. Go ahead, Ben.
Am I the only one who, when he saw that giant Cyberman, am I the only one that thought it was sort of Mega Man from Spaceballs?
It's only you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. To me, it felt more like the Iron Giant.
Yeah.
And even had the exact same weaponry that he had in the movie on the exact same hands. So.
Okay. Yeah, when I heard that, I thought, oh my god, it's Mega Man. Anyway.
And one of the things about these specials is every episode has celebrity guest stars or people, as we will find out, who actually went on to have big careers. Now, this one, the character Jackson Lake is played by, as 50 said, David Morrissey, who is more known to the wider audience as the Governor from The Walking Dead.
And this was actually the first time David Tennant actually didn't look tall.
Yeah.
In this show.
Yeah, because Morrissey is a huge dude.
Yeah. So is Tenant, but damn, that other David.
Yep.
He kind of reminded me of Kenneth Branagh from The Chamber of Secrets a little.
A little bit. I could see that without the arrogance, without the
Yeah,
the
a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I could see that. That's actually a good comparison.
Unfortunately, though, as we will come to realize later, the events that took place here kind of got erased from history. Spoilers.
And next up, we have this is the when I said earlier that there were two specials that I consider above the rest. This is the first one, Planet of the Dead. I enjoy this one.
Not to be confused with The Dead Planet.
Yeah,
the episode that kind of sort of introduced the Daleks.
Yeah. No, this is a fun episode, and this was actually my favorite Doctor Who Confidential to watch on the specials because they chronicle, like, you know what happened with the bus, right?
Yeah, the 200. That's the 200th story of Doctor Who.
No. Why the bus looks damaged when they go through the wormhole?
Why?
It's because originally the bus was supposed to look like it did in London, all one piece, but when it was being shipped to where they were, it got damaged in a hurricane. But they liked the look so much they kept it, and they made them make a new one as close as possible in London.
Nice.
Yeah, and that was like a big thing in the Doctor Who Confidential because
that's a happy accident.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
It kind of reminded me of Fish from Shaw.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, definitely. It was a happy accident. The explanation was great, but it's like
it was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
The universe is big and wide and ridiculous, and sometimes impossible things happen we call miracles.
So this one, Lady Christina de Souza, a thief, steals an ancient gold chalice and catches a bus with the Doctor just before the bus passes through a wormhole and ends up on the desert planet Sun Helios. The Doctor contacts UNIT to return the other passengers safely to Earth. The Doctor and Christina scout ahead while the others attempt to repair the bus and are taken to a wrecked spaceship by two alien Tritivores. The Doctor realizes that a swarm of stingray-like aliens that feed by destroying the ecosystem is approaching them. The spaceship is revealed to have been crashed by the stingrays who killed the Tritivores. The Doctor then realizes that the wormhole was created by the stingrays to move to their next feeding planet, Earth. With the swarm nearly on them, the Doctor uses technology from the spaceship and the chalice to enable the bus to fly. They fly back through the wormhole just as UNIT closes it. But not before three stingrays get through, which UNIT quickly kill. Christina is arrested, but the Doctor allows her to escape using the bus. Carmen, a passenger who is slightly psychic, tells the Doctor he will knock 4 times before his death, unnerving him. Now, trivia question. I told Ben this. No. Which future Academy Award nominee appeared in this episode? I'm surprised 50 doesn't know this.
It's a good thing we're not doing a trivia thing again.
You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
The role of Barclay is played by Daniel Kaluuya.
No fucking way!
That's Daniel Kaluuya, yes.
How did I not recognize him?
I do not know.
And
he looks young. He looks young in this episode. Oh, wow.
And was there somebody else or no?
Well, yeah, he's the biggest name. And of course, the other famous person that people will know is Lee Evans, who was had a career in the 90s, pretty big career. He was in There's Something About Mary, Mouse Hunt, was a stand-up comic, other roles. And then the character Malcolm is the nerdy unit agent that the Doctor is conversing with.
Yeah, but Lee Evans.
Lee Evans. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah. And then the person playing Lady Christina de Souza is Michelle Ryan, who on if you watch British TV shows, you might know her from EastEnders and stuff. But in America, she was the Bionic Woman in the failed reboot of that TV series, which she had just finished prior to this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
staying in the Doctor Who realm, she fairly recently got her own spin-off series in audio plays.
Oh, nice.
That's right, she
As
did.
Lady
Yeah.
Yeah. How she got her series before Jenny did, I have no idea, but that's beside the point. But something I thought I was going to say that sort of turned out to be something completely different. Do you know why the bus was the number 200?
Yeah, it's the 200th story.
Yeah,
Nice.
since
Yeah.
the beginning of Doctor Who.
Nice.
So yeah, what were you guys' thoughts on this episode? Like I've already said, this is one of my two favorites.
I liked it. I just thought it was fun. I love the Doctor and Christina's back and forth.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah.
villains were okay. I didn't love them.
There weren't really. The thing is, there weren't really villains in this episode. It was basically the Stingrays are kind of like mini Galactuses.
Yeah.
In a way. They weren't particularly evil, just like the Doctor says. It's a lifestyle. It's a life cycle.
Yeah, they were like kind of like the MacGuffin, because really, the focus on the story was Christina.
Yeah.
Right.
And I really liked Christina. I like how how she was just as clever as the Doctor.
Yeah, I honestly thought he was going to take her with him, but
yeah,
turns out again, like I said, it didn't matter because she got her own spin-off show, but that's and also it's nice to see I wish they had her more, at least during the first couple of Matt Smith episodes. Captain Arisa Magumbo was sort of the unit representative. She was there in Turn Left, and she came back. It was, I believe, at the time there were rumors that she was kind of going to be the replacement of the Brigadier.
Oh,
because Nicholas Courtney was already too old for the part, and I believe he passed away in like 2009 or 10 or something like that. So he couldn't. That's why they had that big thing with the Matt Smith episode where he tries to get back the Brigadier, and he's been informed that he passed away.
Yeah, that's the. Yeah, what episode was that? That was during the actual Matt Smith.
Yeah, it was the wedding of the wedding of River Song. I think.
Yeah. Okay. That's right.
I think it was the name of the episode.
Right.
But yeah, it was at least she got to have 2 episodes, Captain Arisa Magumbo. And when they were shooting the Stingrays, I don't know if you caught that. It's a bit of a reference to the classic era, but when they were shooting the Stingrays and the bullets were working for finally, she was like, "I don't believe it! Guns that work!" Which is a reference to something that the Brigadier said in the classic days. I believe it was the Green Death episode where he said that he was like, just once I'd like to meet an alien menace who wasn't immune to bullets. Because up to that point they've been fighting Daleks, and Cybermen, and Axons. This was before the Zygons, but still, like Autons, every single alien they've encountered up to that point was immune to bullets.
Jesus.
And as a military man, that's frustrating. Your one goal in life is to protect the Earth, and you can't do that with the technology you have at your disposal.
You were about to say something, Ben?
No, whatever. What's the next one? I can't remember.
So the next one I would say is probably the scariest.
I didn't like
Mars.
this one.
You didn't?
No.
Okay. Well, okay. Why weren't you a fan of this one? Is it because it was more of a horror?
It was more of a horror, and I don't like the zombies, and that's basically what they got turned into.
But you liked the gas mask zombies.
It's true, those were zombies.
You my mommy.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But they came back.
What?
They came back, whereas the people in this episode didn't.
Yeah.
Like back to life, I mean.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't like it. I'm sorry.
No. I was just curious as to why you didn't like this one. That's all.
I gotta admit though, the concept of a zombie spraying water out of its mouth at you, that could either be really terrifying or really ridiculous. Which a lot of the time that's where the show strives in. It's that thin line between scary and ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this goes back to what I've been saying the last episode. This show seems to be determined to make you afraid of everything that exists in our world. This time, it's water. The most valuable and precious thing in life.
Fun trivia fact about this: the spacesuit the Doctor wears in this episode was previously seen worn by the Doctor.
It's the same one
42.
From, no, yes.
50. What's the name of the episode? 42 or is it 54?
42, yes. 50, yeah. But that was the same one he kept after the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit.
Yep.
So he's basically been wearing it for 3 seasons.
Pretty much.
And also another fun fact: the same suit that he wore during the Voyage of the Dead with the Titanic, which he claimed the suit was incredibly unlucky. That was the same one he was wearing during the Lazarus experiment, where he said, "Every time I wear this thing, something bad happens." And if I remember correctly, it might have actually been the same one he wore to Jackie's birthday in Rise of the Cybermen.
Would make sense. It would make sense.
So yeah, clothes matter, people.
Yeah. So in the waters of Mars, the Doctor arrives on Mars in 2059 near humanity's first Martian colony, Bowie Base 1, named for David Bowie.
Because why not?
Well, I mean, the spaceman from Mars, Ziggy Mars, man.
I said that's what.
He arrives at the base where he is detained by Captain Adelaide Brooke. As the crew interrogate him, he discovers that today the base will explode, killing the entire crew. He tries to stay uninvolved, but Brooke forces him to assist. 2 crewmen appear to be in a zombie-like state, generating copious amounts of water. With the remaining crew uninfected, Brooke orders the crew to evacuate to their rocket back to Earth while setting the base to self-destruct. The Doctor explains to Brooke what he knows and why he cannot get involved, and begins to leave. Sorry. Ed, the rocket's pilot, is infected and sacrifices himself by causing the rocket to self-destruct, stranding the remaining crew. The Doctor rescues Brooke and the 2 surviving crew, Yuri and Mia. He returns them to Earth. The Doctor insists that he has the power to change the future of the human race and no one can stop him. Brooke returns home and kills herself, leaving history mostly unchanged. Ood Sigma appears. The Doctor asks if it is time for him to die, but Sigma vanishes. This is easily the darkest one.
Yeah.
Because this is where the closest that Tennant's Doctor comes to playing God.
I was going to say, when listening to Matt, you're like this, he almost turned heel, I thought.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, I like that part of the episode. I didn't really like all the monster stuff. I like the inner struggle he had towards the end of the episode with him and those 2 people.
Yeah, and this is why moments like this are fixed point in time, because Adelaide had to die.
Yeah,
had to.
I can't remember which Doctor said this, but sometimes time wants to happen. Sometimes history wants to happen.
And yeah, the like what was so special about it is like this was the first person to fly to Mars, to captain a crew to Mars. So she's a major part of history because she wasn't there for the rest of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it whenever we see Tennant go to that dark place. And it shows off his acting abilities, like in Family of the Blood, in that famous scene that I can't stop rewatching.
But go finish your thought.
It surprises me how much he keeps impressing me, David Tennant.
and speaking of that scene and that episode, if you rewatch this episode, as soon as he hears that it's the first Martian colony, he sort of changes, he shifts, and he sort of stays playing the Doctor in a certain way throughout most of the episode until the rocket explodes and he has that realization, and he shows back into the base to save them and change history, and then he just snaps back into the Doctor we all know and love.
So fun. Here's a little trivia for this. The character of Mia. Do you know which, now you could say, famous actress plays her?
Which one is Mia?
The Asian.
Yeah, you're doing it to me again. No. It's probably going to be like the Daniel Kaluuya thing that I'm going to...
Let me think.
Played... Okay, I'll let you take a guess.
I know that Captain Adelaide Brooke was the asshole lady from Birdman.
That's right.
Critic.
No, I don't know who is it.
Played by Gemma Chan, who you might recognize as Astrid from Crazy Rich Asians, Minerva from Captain Marvel, and upcoming in Eternals, the role of Cersei.
Nice.
Yes.
Cersei's one of my favorite Eternals from the comics.
I know nothing. So it's gonna be
it wasn't a very exciting read, I'll say that. But great movie potential, I'll say this. Okay. I can't wait to see what they do with it, because, like I said, it's a comic I didn't really enjoy reading, but I did acknowledge that there's so much the MCU can do with it. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see her in it.
And now we are on what is the...
Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, though, speaking of, like I said earlier, the lead up to the next Doctor and all of that, they released a bunch of different trailers for this special, because I still remember the days. I was still in high school where, it's high school. Time barely seems to move. Mm-hmm. And all I could really think about wasn't the exams or the finals, because I had those on lock. But what I really couldn't, the waiting was excruciating. These 4/5 specials, anything Doctor Who related at that time. And one of the trailers they released was when the Doctor was saying to Adelaide, he was saying, when that moment he says that there was a prophecy. It said he was going to die. And he said it was not, he will knock 4 times. I think I know what it means, but it doesn't mean right here, right now, because I don't hear anyone knocking. Do you? And then immediately after that, it was like, boom, boom, boom. In the trailer, they had 4 knocks.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. In the trailer, they had a close-up of David Tennant's face, and they had 4 knocks.
Awesome. And
that's how the trailer ended. Obviously, that was a huge red herring, and if I remember correctly, I don't really have the best ears in the business, but I think it might be the exact same 4 knocks from the next episode we're going to cover. They just took that from this episode and inserted it into the trailer for the other episode.
Right.
And that brings us to what is the best of the Tennant specials. That, like, there's no argument here. It is the best. I'm not saying favorite, the best. And it had to be the best because it is the wrap up of the Russell T Davies era of Doctor Who, which is, I'd say, probably one of the most influential eras of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I still consider the Stolen Earth and Journey's End to be better than this one, but oh my goodness, this one did not disappoint. Delivered fired on all cylinders.
It is aptly named The End of Time.
And a proper return to the classic era of having the same episode with multiple parts.
Yeah. As opposed to how they normally do it, where it's like 2 episodes with the same structure, but they're each named different. Ben, what did you think of this as the newbie to the group, to the Tenant Era?
It was a great end of the era episode. I loved it. Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I'm being a fan of the Masters overall plan.
that is the one thing where I'm like, the Master is a little weird for me at the beginning.
He's talking about the plan.
Oh, yeah, it's a little weird.
When he made everyone him, I was like, really? How egotistical can one guy be to make everyone in the world himself?
But see, here's the thing: he is egotistical and self-absorbed. He loves the sound of his own voice. There's no denying that. And also, it was mostly to humiliate the Doctor. That's really a lot of the stuff the Master does is to degrade the Doctor as much as possible. If you don't believe me, just watch the last time the Master showed up on screen.
Yeah.
And what he did to the Doctor. But see, in this angle, even he says it, the human race was always the Doctor's favorite. Now there is no human race. There's only the Master race. And the Master he made no effort to hide it. He hates humans. In pretty much all of his incarnations, he hates humans. So to just erase an entire species and replace it with himself, that was one of his greatest victories. Obviously, the last thing the Master did in The Sound of Drums and Last of the Time Lords, that is still to this day the biggest and worst thing the Master has ever done in the history of Doctor Who. There's no going back. So obviously there is no way of topping it, but he still pretty much outdid himself in this one, I think.
I get all that, but for me, it's just a work. I'm sorry. I mean, I get why everybody loves it. I'm like,
at the time at the time when I started for the first time, I thought it was a little underwhelming too. And I wasn't a big fan of it, but I've grown to like it over the years.
But on that, I want to take 15 minutes. Incredible. For that 15 minutes of part 2, I'll write up for me some of the best 10 minutes.
For me, like, what makes the episode isn't the Master stuff. It is the stuff with Wilf and the stuff where Tennant's it's the more personal side of the story.
Right. Yeah,
that's what makes it great for me.
And when those episodes were coming out, I remember all the hype was surrounded around the Master. Oh, the Master's coming back. The Master. Everyone loves John Sim as the Master.
Yeah.
And, Timothy Dalton's in this episode. But yeah, the Master's coming back. So they put a lot of focus around the Master. Myself, personally, I never would have expected the Time Lords to show up in this episode. And that was the freaking cliffhanger.
Well, let's just get right into the synopsis then. On the Ood sphere in 4226, the Ood warned the Doctor that the Master has returned, heralding the end of time. On Earth, a cult of women resurrect the Master, but Lucy Saxton sabotages the ceremony, causing the Master to be brought back with incredible strength, but constant hunger. Arriving back on Earth on Christmas Eve, the Doctor encounters Wilfred Mott. The Doctor finds the Master at wastelands outside London and learns that the Master has been suffering from hearing the sound of drums. The Master is taken by armed troops and placed in custody of Joshua Naismith. Naismith has recovered a broken alien immortality gate and wants the Master to fix its programming. The Doctor regroups with Mott. A woman in white warns Mott to arm himself too before departing. At Naismith's mansion, the Doctor and Mott meet two Vinvachi disguised as humans, who assert the gate is a...
Shimmer.
Yeah, Shimmer. Who assert the gate is a harmless medical device from their homeworld. The Master activates the gate, which he has reprogrammed to replace all of humankind's DNA with his own. Only Mott and Donna are unchanged, and Noble remembers the Doctor. Elsewhere, the Lord President of the Time Lords, Rassilon, asserts their plan can continue and the Time Lords will return. Now in part 2, the Doctor and Wilf have become fugitives from the Master and take refuge on the Vinvachi spacecraft. The Lord President implants the sound of drums, revealed to be the heartbeat of a Time Lord in the Master's head as a child, and launches a white point star to Earth to be used to create a link that allows the Time Lords to bring Gallifrey to Earth, inadvertently releasing the horrors of the Time War alongside it. The Lord President and an ensemble of Time Lords appear in Nate Smith's mansion. The Doctor and the Vinvachi bring the ship to land. The Doctor jumping from it. The Doctor debates between shooting the Master or the Lord President, who plans to destroy the time vortex and the whole universe so that the Time Lords can become beings of pure consciousness. The Doctor spots the same woman in white Mott had seen, who silently communicates to him. The Doctor fires the gun at the white point star, shattering it. As Gallifrey is pulled back, Rassilon attempts to kill the Doctor, but the Master intervenes, and humanity is restored as Gallifrey returns. The Doctor finds Wolf is now trapped in one of the gate's control rooms that is about to be flooded by radiation. The Doctor sacrifices himself and absorbs the radiation, but knows that his body will soon regenerate. After returning Wolf, the Doctor visits past companions and acquaintances. Inside his TARDIS, the Doctor sets the TARDIS in flight before regenerating into the 11th Doctor. Now, the one thing they left out of this is that it was Wilf who's the Fornox. He thinks the Doctor has won the day, and all of a sudden he hears dit, 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 and you can just see the look on his face. It's like, it had to be you.
Yeah. It was amazing.
This episode, one of the rarest episodes in both the classic and modern era, that really focuses on just how crazy, deranged, and powerful Rassilon is.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who aren't aware, Rassilon is pretty much the granddaddy of Time Lord society. He's one of the earliest. Okay, so here's something that needs to be understood. There is a difference between Gallifreyan and Time Lords. Not all pretty much no.
All
actually,
Time Lords are Gallifreyans, but not all Gallifreyans are Time Lords.
Not all Time Lords are Gallifreyan.
Error.
Something I should, something we might get into in another video we are planning to do. But for a Gallifreyan to be chosen and handpicked, selected to be a Time Lord is a huge deal, especially in the classic era. But see, Rassilon and his best friend Omega are kind of the creators of Time Lord Society. Rassilon was more kind of created the whole looms, which is a complicated thing that I'm not even going to touch. But that's basically Time Lord reproduction, just to let you know. And he's basically engineered the Time Lord's strength and ability to regenerate. Everything that makes a Time Lord. Omega is kind of the one that introduced time travel to the Time Lord Society. There's a third one that we're not going to talk to until we'll reach a much, much later season. But that being said, Rassilon is said to have lived 1 billion years before dying, and it's often said that he holds the key to immortality, as seen in the 20th anniversary special, The Five Doctors. But see, he's been long dead. He's been long gone, and the Time Lords resurrected him and re-elected him as the president specifically for the Time War.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
So he was already long dead before the Time War started. They brought him back and reinstated him as the president to lead the Time Lords in their most desperate hour.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, he shows up. He reverses what the Master did with just a flick of his fingers. He's basically like Thanos at this point. He's even got a gauntlet. He reverses the process, turning all humans back in, all the Master race back into the human race. And he basically undoes everything that the Master did. And just not even a snap of a finger, it's a wave of a hand. And I love that the first thing he said was like, "On your knees, mankind," to show off that they're basically in the presence of a god.
Yeah, he's definitely not someone you want to mess with.
And he's Timothy Dalton.
Of course.
On top of all that. It's a shame they never brought him back whenever they brought Rassilon back, but the guy's expensive, I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is also very popular.
Can we
Very high
talk
demand.
about? Can we talk about the last 15 or
Oh,
20
for sure.
minutes?
Yeah.
For sure.
The,
But there's this one moment I do want to touch on though before this 15 minutes, and it is when somebody tells the doctor to get your dad to shut up, and Wolf is like, I'd be proud if he was my son. I thought that was a really touching moment.
And then the doctor says, "I'd be proud if he were my father."
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like the ultimate compliment you could get from the doctor.
great.
Yeah.
You know, okay, now you said something that has me puzzled. So does that just remember everything?
50, you want to take this?
She remembered for a split second, but the way I understand it is he put that as a defense mechanism because obviously traveling with the doctor, you make a lot of enemies.
Yeah, it's
So
a defense
I guess,
mechanism.
I guess he put it in her head just in case she gets attacked by anyone, where instead of burning up herself, she just unleashes an energy that knocks her out along with anyone else in the vicinity. That if she naturally were to remember, the other thing might have happened.
Okay. Now, Tenant's goodbye tour. I love this montage.
Oh yeah.
Everyone from hell, they brought back Jack for a cameo.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Not just that,
And-
but midshipman Alonzo. Yeah. Yeah, and then of course you saw Mickey and Martha married, so that makes them. What does it make them?
Smith and Jones.
It makes them Smith and Jones, which is the name of the first.
Still, I didn't like that. It felt to me like they went like, well, they're the only two black companions. Let's put them together. It felt really, really forced. Like, what else do they have in common aside from their skin color? They basically never met each other before the journey's in.
Martha was rejected by the doctor, and Mickey was rejected by Rose. They have that in common.
That
makes it even worse.
That is true. That is true.
And what's even more insulting is that she left fucking Lucifer Morningstar.
Yeah,
an idiot. Like, who makes that? To quote a popular meme, that was the worst trade deal in the history of trade deals, maybe ever.
Oh,
but okay. One of my favorites that is living back is the descendant of a woman who John Smith married. That was a nice callback.
Yep. And most importantly, what was her name?
Verity Newman. I was just about to read that piece of trivia. Verity Newman is played by Jessica Hines, the same actress who played Joan Redfern, who is Verity's great-grandmother, in the episodes Human Nature and the Family of Blood. The name Verity Newman is based on Doctor Who creator Sidney Newman and the show's first producer, Verity Lambert.
Producer,
Yep. Professor John Smith averred that his parents were Verity and Sidney. A pocket watch featured prominently in the plot of both Hines' original episodes, and a pocket watch is featured on the cover of Newman's book.
And the name of the book is The Journal of Impossible Things.
Yep.
It all comes back around.
Yep.
And then,
when the Doctor visits Captain Jack Harkness in the alien bar, the song playing in the background, My Angel Put the Devil in Me, was sung by Tallulah in the episode Daleks in Manhattan.
Yeah. And all the other cameos that showed up in that space bar. There's Jadoon, Adipose, Slitheen, Grosk, pretty much all the iconic Tenant Era aliens. And also, just in case you were wondering, Ben, at this point, this takes place after the Torchwood's 5-episode special, Children of Earth, where Torchwood itself was destroyed, and Jack lost his boyfriend at the time. He died, and that's why he decided it was time to move on from Earth and start traveling the stars again. And that's why he was on the alien bar at the time.
So some more
continuity.
Some more continuity trivia. At the start of part 1, the Doctor explains his delay to Ood Sigma. Among his various adventures, he mentions having married good Queen Bess and refers to her nickname, the Virgin Queen. the end of the Shakespeare Code, Queen Elizabeth appears infuriated at seeing the Doctor, calling him her sworn enemy. He does not recall meeting her and presumes he will meet her in his future, which eventually happens in the Day of the Doctor.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Yeah.
And I love, and when it was revealed, when he went to visit Wars, I love that because
It was before they met.
okay, it was before Elkerson. It was
To quote,
before
to quote
Elkerson.
my mom said it best. They left the saddest thing for the last.
And I guess I was reading some trivia on it. I guess there is a look that Rose gives Tennant's Doctor in the Christmas Invasion, like a kind of like I've seen this before. Apparently,
Oh,
I didn't catch it, but this is the fun little bit of continuity trivia. 50 will probably has definitely heard of this one. One of the two dissident Time Lords, described as the woman in the end credits, visits Wilf on several occasions, appearing and disappearing in unexplained ways. When she lowers her arms to stare at the Doctor, he appears to recognize her, but when later asked by Wilfred about her identity, the Doctor evades the question. British newspapers, the Daily Telegraph, identified the character as the Doctor's mother as early as April 2009. The episode's writer, Russell T. Davies, wrote in an email to journalist Benjamin Cook, "I like leaving it open because then you can imagine what you want. I think the fans will say it's Romana, or even the Ronnie. Some might say it's Susan's mother, I suppose. But of course, it's meant to be the Doctor's mother."
Yeah. And that's the thing. I knew this question was going to come up, so I looked it up ahead of time. There's still, to this day, 2021, people are still arguing over who that woman was. To me, it's like a non-issue. I mean, she served her purpose, and even the showrunner himself says that she was meant to be his mother. And one article that I found mentions that it was a woman intended for people to show off their Doctor Who knowledge by basically attaching every single female character in the history of the show to this character. Some people are even saying that it's Leela. Some people think it's Ace. More names you're not familiar with. Yeah. Like I said, not every Time Lord is Gallifreyan.
See, Leela would be more likely than Ace.
Like I said, not every Time Lord needs to be Gallifreyan.
Okay.
But, okay, as much as I love seeing Wars back, and they really have
I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming.
Yes, of course. Yes. You're one of the... Jackie's all right.
I mean, come on. I'm only kidding. I know.
Here's a little non-Doctor Who trivia. Let's see if I can stump you guys. I probably will stump you guys with this. So the actress that plays the Doctor's mother, what is her connection to Charlie Chaplin?
I have no fucking idea.
She's his granddaughter. I don't know.
No. Her Claire Bloom is her name. Her very first movie was Charlie Chaplin's Limelight, which was the movie that he was promoting in the UK when he got refused entry in the United States for supposed communist sympathies. Yeah.
Okay. When was that?
1950 something.
She does not look that old.
Well, she's 90 now. Yeah.
Really?
She's 90. Yeah. Still kicking.
She does not.
Good on her.
She does not look in her 80s.
1952.
Sheesh.
Good on her.
21.
Speaking of communists, that's a weird segue. Do we want to discuss Dreamland and the wedding of Sarah Jane Smith?
We can do. I didn't get a chance to watch Dreamland yet. But we could do the Sarah Jane Smith one. Yeah.
You watched it?
I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I have seen it a few times.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll let you two talk about it. I didn't get a chance to watch either.
I'm just bringing up the episode. So 50, go ahead. Talk about the episode.
Dreamland and...
well, let's do the wedding of Sarah Jane.
The wedding of Sarah Jane Smith?
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to talk about it before you move on to the actual synopsis. But this was the
I'm not
first
going to read the
time.
synopsis. They just gave me like the full thing, and I don't have time to read the whole thing. So.
Okay. So this is basically the first time the Doctor himself has appeared in a spin-off show. Not the last, but I mean, he never appeared on Torchwood, or well, basically that's really where the buck stops. Because I mean, the only other spin-off show that Doctor Who ever had, I think, was the pilot episode of K9 and Company, which, like I said, it never got past the.
Well,
pilot.
wasn't also that the most recent spin-off they did, Class?
Yeah, he showed up in the first episode, but
Yeah,
that was the Capaldi Doctor. Like I said, this was the first time the Doctor has appeared in a spin-off show. So you're not going to read the synopsis?
Well, I'm just going to read the things. In the story, alien investigator Sarah Jane Smith gets engaged to her boyfriend, Peter Dalton. However, alien time traveler, an old friend of Sarah Jane's, the Doctor, raises an objection at the wedding, and the marriage is revealed to be a malicious plot set up by one of Sarah Jane's recurring enemies, the Trickster. So, the episode starts with Sarah Jane sneaking out of her home for a traffic report meeting. With help from Mr. Smith and K9, Luke, Ronnie, and Clyde find her in a restaurant with a man. As they are leaving, Clyde is puzzled by the sound of the TARDIS. Sarah Jane returns home and finds out she was spied upon, but seems happy and announces that she's seeing a man, Peter Dalton, and that she has invited him to Bannerman Road. Sarah Jane tells Luke that she is worried about what Peter might think about her adventures, but Luke tells her not to worry, and then she looks happy. After Sarah Jane leaves the room, Luke also hears the sound of the TARDIS. When Peter arrives at the Smith's house, Sarah Jane tries to hide all evidence of her extraterrestrial adventures, but a parcel arrives containing an alien creature. Ronnie and Clyde, who were trying to see what Peter was like, take the parcel back to Ronnie's house. Peter arrives as Clyde and Ronnie leave, but Ronnie's mother runs across to also look at him. In the Chandra's house, Ronnie and Clyde see a multi-eye slug-like creature burst out of the parcel. Detecting the alien, K9 leaves Sarah Jane's house to warn about the creature. Luke manages to explain K9 away as a prototype toy. K9 then joins Ronnie and Clyde in trying to catch the creature as Sarah Jane, Peter, and Luke go for a meal. During the meal, Ronnie, Clyde, and K9 manage to bring the alien slug to the attic, where Mr. Smith teleports it to its home planet, Polongus.
Can I stop you for a second there?
Yes, please.
I started laughing. I started laughing because in that very same scene, Sarah Jane and Luke both told K9 to stay in the attic, stay out of trouble, because they didn't want Peter to notice him, because they didn't want to spring everything that they were doing onto him. And in that scene, when K9 is determined, like a dog, that is determined to stop the alien creature from doing anything wrong, he's like, "Do not notice me. Now everything is okay. There's nothing out of the ordinary."
I love K9.
I love K9.
2 days later, Peter proposes to Sarah Jane, who accepts. He gives her an engagement ring, which glows red. Meanwhile, Ronnie and Clyde investigate Peter's home, which they find to be unoccupied. Back in the attic, Sarah Jane reveals to Luke, Ronnie, and Clyde that she has agreed to marry Peter. Ronnie and Clyde tell Sarah Jane and Luke that they checked Peter's house and found it empty. The engagement ring glows again, and rather than getting angry, Sarah Jane seems happy and explains that Peter has another flat in London, which he has visited many times. Mr. Smith detects an anomaly when the ring glows, but Sarah Jane orders Mr. Smith to deactivate. When the wedding day arrives, Clyde still has his doubts, but Luke tells him to keep calm and not ruin the wedding, and asks him to help K9. When Sarah Jane enters the hotel, Ronnie also hears the sound of the TARDIS engines. During the ceremony, when the registrar asks if there is any reason why the couple should not be wed, the 10th Doctor bursts through the doors, demanding the wedding be stopped. As he warns Sarah Jane to step away from Peter, the Trickster appears and kidnaps Sarah Jane. The Doctor tries to save her, but she, Peter, and the Trickster disappear. Part 2. As Luke, Clyde, and Ronnie regain consciousness, the Doctor introduces himself, swiftly revealing that they and K9 are the only people in the hotel, which now exists in a white void trapped at 152323. The Trickster has literally trapped them in a second, cutting them off from the rest of the world, and more importantly, cutting them off from the TARDIS, which cannot materialize properly. Using canine sensors and the sonic screwdriver, the Doctor is able to determine that Sarah Jane is trapped in another second, deducing that the trickster has separated the group to prevent them from helping Sarah Jane. As Sarah Jane realizes what has happened, she removes her engagement ring, realizing that it has been influencing her actions. Peter protests that the angel told him that the ring would only ensure everything worked out at the wedding, and points out that Sarah Jane accepted his proposal on her own. As Peter explains that the trickster came to him when he had an accident at home, offering him his life and the love he never had, the trickster states that Sarah Jane and her allies will only be returned to the real universe when she says, I do.
I do.
While attempting to find a way out of the hotel, the Doctor confronts the trickster, revealing that he is the personification of the Pantheon of Discord. The trickster reciprocates with his own knowledge of the Doctor, explaining that, with Sarah Jane's marriage marking the beginning of her new life, she will forget her old life of defending Earth, creating more chaos for the trickster to feed on. The trickster also remarks ominously to the Doctor that the gate is waiting for you. As the TARDIS appears, attempting to lock out to its pilot, the Doctor explains that they can use the Artron energy that powers the TARDIS to fight the trickster. But his attempt to help Luke, Ronnie, and Clyde into the TARDIS fails, with the TARDIS and the Doctor being cut off from the hotel as the TARDIS dematerializes with the Doctor still inside. However, Clyde's attempts to enter the TARDIS result in him becoming temporarily charged with Atron energy, allowing him to attack the trickster. With the trickster's power momentarily disrupted by Clyde's attack, the Doctor is able to materialize the TARDIS in Sarah Jane's second, telling her that there is only one way to end this trickster's deal. As the trickster and Clyde appear, both momentarily weakened by Clyde's attack, Sarah Jane tearfully informs Peter that the only way to stop the trickster is for Peter to take back the deal, even though this will mean his death. Peter genuinely died in the accident and is currently living a half-life that will only become real once he marries nobody else but the heroes remembering anything about the presence of the trickster or the Doctor. As Sarah Jane later cries in the attic, she's joined by Luke, Ronnie, and Clyde, who console her on her loss before the TARDIS materializes in the attic. After the Doctor allows the three teenagers to look around the TARDIS, he departs one more, assuring Sarah Jane that she still has an incredible life ahead of her.
If only that were true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it the last thing with her?
No. But she died not that like a couple years later.
Yeah.
In real
She
life.
had a season and a half after that.
Yeah.
That's the sad part.
Let me ask you something. For the more of that series with Donna, I would have loved a spin-off with Donna going on some kind of adventures. How do you think that would have played out?
I think a lot of people would have liked it, but then it would have kind of like, where would you have said it? Would you have said it with her time with the Doctor? Because you can't set it afterwards, because technically that would be killing her unless they rewrite canon.
Well, I mean, before everything revealed what would happen with her. So, like, I mean, I'm just saying they can't do it now, but before everybody knew she was going to get mine right, it would have been interesting. That's all I meant.
It would have been.
Here's the thing, though. Something I thought they could have done something like that back in the day, because in Silence in the Library, when River Song hears Donna's name, she looks at her like she recognizes her. I thought they were going in a similar direction with that. But
that's mainly what I'm saying. Like, you mean 100% honest? I don't like how it ended with her. Like, I'm glad she got married, but I'd rather have.
apparently they're millionaires now.
What?
But
Apparently they're millionaires now.
But none of the Doctor's companions have ever had a happy end. Well, very few of them have had a happy ending.
Yeah, sadly.
That's the thing. Like,
And
who's had a happy ending?
Yeah. To quote Sarah Jane Smith, Rose, really?
No, well, she ended up on another parallel universe with no way to talk, like, to get to the Doctor.
But to quote what Sarah Jane said, some things are worth getting your heart broken for.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I think maybe Leela had a happy ending. Maybe Susan. Ian and Barbara definitely had a happy ending. What
happened with Ace?
Well, spoilers. She kind of became a Time Lord.
Oh, okay.
That's going back to what I said earlier.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know why. Anytime somebody wipes somebody's memories to protect them, it kind of bugs me.
Well,
But
yeah,
that's
because you want to
just
see a
me.
happy ending for all these characters you love.
Right.
Then you're probably not going to like how certain things ended up with a certain Peter Capaldi companion. Just
Mm-hmm.
saying.
No, I already know about that. My friend told me.
Okay.
So, yeah. But, yeah.
Okay.
But uh, speaking of Donna, the insect thing that attached itself to her back, he was a pawn of the Trickster,
Yep.
which was seen prominently in this episode. And the Trickster, he mostly shows up in Sarah Jane episodes. He's already used her parents against her, her best friend at a certain time, and yeah, it would have been nice to see the Trickster again. And it was nice that it finally got a meeting between the Doctor and the Trickster in this episode, which was great.
Right.
And also the whole thing about Clyde being getting a piece of the Artron energy, that's gonna be it's gonna come back later in the next time the Doctor shows up in a Sarah Jane episode.
So that is the end of our David Tennant era of Doctor Who. Well, actually, the whole Russell T Davies era as a whole. Where do you think? Well, I'm going to ask this more of 50 because he's watched more Doctor Who than the rest of us. But where do you think this era ranks in terms of Doctor Who?
Personally, to me, it's my favorite era. David Tennant's my favorite Doctor. Sorry, and I don't know, because a lot of the stuff that Stephen Moffat did later, sort of more pivotal to the Doctor as a whole, looking at the entire thing as a whole. Certain thing that Chris Chibnall did recently, no matter how people don't like it, kind of changes our understanding of the Doctor in general. But I stand firmly on the point that I think this is a lot of people's favorite time of Doctor Who.
And what do you think, Ben, as your first go through of this?
I loved it. I loved Tenet stuff. I mean, I didn't think I would, but yeah, he might be my favorite Doctor.
Yeah.
But I don't know. No yet. I'll have to get back to you.
Like I've said many times, Matt Smith's 1A, Tennant's 1B, and sometimes that can change, but I will unequivocally say I think Tennant is the best Doctor that I have seen. I can't speak to anything of the old classic because I've seen very few of it, but from everything that I've seen in the modern era, Tennant is the best Doctor.
He gives all of them a run for their money.
Yeah, exactly.
Even it's funny that he grew up watching the show, and Tom Baker and Peter Davison were his favorites and the Doctors he thought were the best. And then years later, he became the Doctor, and now everyone considers him the best.
The best, yeah.
Yeah.
The one, the only, and the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Ben.
And I'm happy to talk Matt Smith next week.
Yes.
Oh, so yeah. Geronimo!
We are going into the more fun Doctor Who is the best way to describe it. We're going into the era of the Madman in the Blue Box, Matt Smith's illustrious era. Now, David Tennant set the stage, but when Matt Smith's Doctor arrived, that's when Doctor Who exploded into the zeitgeist of pop culture.
Yeah. The Doctor that a lot of people know today.
Exactly. I would say he's arguably the most famous Doctor in terms of casual.
Yeah.
Is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
And this era is so very cinematic, especially as you get further into the seasons. It seems like everything is done like their own movie. It's really, really fun.
Right down to the quality of the camera.
Yeah, no, it's some great stuff. We see the return of a character we met in series 4. We're introduced to Amy and Rory, who are my two personal favorite companions.
Amy and Rory Pond.
Yeah. Rory is the perfect, is not the perfect. He's my favorite audience avatar for Doctor Who. Really.
Yeah. Amy and Rory remind me, to me anyway, is a better version than Rose and Mickey. I like I think I like Lois better than
yeah.
Amy, but as I compare them, I think they're compared to. I think Lori and Amy are better than Lois and Mickey, in my opinion.
Yes. No, I'm already on series 6. I can't wait for you guys to join up. I need to slow down.
I mean, it's Doctor Who. Who can wait?
And it's my favorite Doctors who can really wait. And I can't wait till we start talking about series 6 because honestly, in my opinion, I think series 6 is the best of the Matt Smith seasons.
Nice.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that.
No. But yes, so Ben, where can everybody find you?
Find me at my Twitter at Ben_Rainy. See the breeze, get this ready, be jumping the path, and Mountain Slowdown. Go check out all last 2 episodes of Mountain Slowdown. They're great. We had some fun tests, and you won't be sorry.
And 4 Knocks of Geek, where can everybody find you?
You can find me obviously recapping the greatest show in the galaxy with these 2 wonderful gentlemen on this show every Monday. You can find me also with these 2 wonderful gentlemen every Saturday on Get Sweaty. You can also find me occasionally whenever it works out for me on Let's Talk About Star Wars. Also on this channel on Mount Schmodown, Shooting the Breeze, occasionally. And you can also find me on my personal YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek, on Twitch, 50 Shades O Geek without the F. And you can also find me on Patreon, patreon.com/Pokemon Star Cross and Crescent.
And as for myself, you could find me on my personal Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman. You can find me on every goddamn show on this channel. I've got nothing coming up tonight that I got to plug, so that's good. But we did have last night on Let's Talk About Star Wars. We had a bounty hunter tier ranking, which was a lot of fun. Basically, Taco was the professor, and the rest of us were just learning. So definitely check that out. Pretty much that's what it was. So definitely check that out. Don't forget to check our SmackDown, our Schmodown coverage. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to 50's stuff as well. And don't forget to join his Patreon. So on behalf of myself, Ben, and 50, we will see you next week when we are recapping Matt Smith's first season as Doctor Who.
You want them all?
You fucking beat me to it, you son of a bitch.